Crescendo, your program for the performing arts. Crescendo is a production of international artists in New York City and Seattle, Washington. Thank you for joining us.
So this is a different kind of harp completely. This is called a cross-strung harp. One of the reasons that this kind of harp exists is so that you can have half steps without having to use the levers. Remember, I talked a little bit about the levers. If I wanted a C sharp, then I had to move the lever for that string to get the C sharp. With the cross-strung harp, here's middle C. If I want C sharp, I play the C sharp string. So I don't have levers, I don't have pedals at all, and I have the full chromatic scale like a keyboard. Now, this is not a brand new design of harp. The earliest record we have for sure of a cross-strung harp comes from Spain, from Madrid, in the last decade of the 1500s, 1596 I believe it was. A receipt from a harp builder for the Royal Chapel, building a harp with 2 rows of strings called the Harpa de dos Órdenes. In contemporary writings of the time, it's described as being about the height of a person, and its strings resemble a weaver's loom. They talk about the strings not being, like an ordinary harp, but being all kind of tangled up together. So the reason the strings cross, rather than just having 2 sets that are like this, is that by having them cross, you can have both hands play both sets. For instance, here's our C. In the left hand, the C string is below the line of crossing. Here's the line where the strings cross, right here. The C is down here in the left hand. The same string is up here in the right hand. If I want the C sharp, it's up in the left hand and down in the right. So for the D, D sharp, down for E, up for E, you get the idea. It's sort of like Alice in the Looking Glass right here. If one hand goes up, the other hand is going to go down. But the advantage is that you can play in every key without having to move pedals or flip levers, and you can do it all on a harp that weighs less than 25 pounds, which is an advantage too, if you have to take your harp anywhere. So I'd like to start by playing you a very simple piece. You've probably heard it before. This is Bach's C major prelude to the Well-Tempered Clavier. If you've heard it sung, you might have heard a soprano or somebody singing Ave Maria over the top of it. The Ave Maria part came almost 200 years later. Here's the piece just as Bach wrote it.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Crescendo. We hope to see you next time.
You have been listening to Crescendo. Crescendo is a production of international artists in New York, New York, and Seattle, Washington. Crescendo is televised weekly over Time Warner Cable in upstate New York and Seattle Cable Access in Washington State, and here on iTunes Podcast.